It is more than a drink. It is a global symbol. The color red, the perfect script, the taste of refreshment, sold 1.9 billion times a day. It is the definition of a modern icon. But that is not the real story. To find the real story, you have to peel back the label and go back to a time of miracle cures and questionable medicine. You have to find a wounded Civil War veteran in a dark lab. You have to taste his first invention. This is the story of how the world's most beloved soda began as a 19th century drug. The question isn't just how it became a global icon, it's how it survived its own unbelievable past. Our story begins in the late 19th century, a time of magnificent top hats, glorious mustaches, and a level of public anxiety that would make a modern therapist's head spin. This was the golden age of the patent medicine, a bizarre and wonderful era where you could walk into any pharmacy and buy a bottle of Dr. Feelgood's miraculous nerve tonic, which was usually 90% alcohol and 10% pure, unadulterated nonsense. People were tired, they were stressed, and they were desperate for a pick-me-up. Into this chaotic world of questionable cures steps our hero, John Stith Pemberton. Pemberton was a pharmacist, a biochemist, and a wounded veteran of the Civil War. Unfortunately, the saber wound he received in battle had left him with a nasty, lifelong addiction to morphine. He was a man in constant pain, and he was desperate to find a substitute, a miracle elixir that could cure his own ailments and hopefully make him a tidy profit in the process. He wasn't just an inventor. He was his own first customer. His first attempt was a concoction called Pemberton's French Wine Coca. It was a heady brew of French Bordeaux wine, cola nut extract for a caffeine kick, and a healthy dose of coca leaf extract. Yes, that coca leaf. It was essentially a boozy, caffeinated, cocaine-infused wine, and people absolutely loved it. It was marketed as a cure for everything from nerve pain and headaches to melancholy and female troubles. It was the ultimate feel-good drink. Pemberton had a hit on his hands. His future was bright, his profits were rolling in, and nothing could possibly go wrong. Except for one tiny, insignificant detail. The city of Atlanta, where Pemberton lived and worked, suddenly decided to enact Prohibition in 1886. Imagine the sheer panic. One day, you're the proud inventor of a popular medicinal wine, and the next, your primary ingredient is illegal. We can picture Pemberton in his lab, a man unhinged, frantically trying to hide barrels of French Bordeaux from the authorities, maybe attempting to disguise them as potted plants or particularly large, unconvincing hats. His entire business model was about to be busted, not for the cocaine, but for the wine. So he was forced back to the drawing board. He needed to create a temperance version of his drink, one that was respectable, non-alcoholic, and could be sold at the new, trendy soda fountains that were popping up everywhere. This is where the real chaos begins. Pemberton wasn't a meticulous, measure twice, cut once kind of scientist. He was a toss it in and see what happens kind of guy. He locked himself in his lab, a mad alchemist, surrounded by bubbling beakers and strange syrups, trying to create a new base syrup that could replicate the kick of his wine coca without the actual wine. He mixed his coca leaf extract, his caffeine-rich cola nut, and a secret blend of fruit oils and spices into a thick, sweet syrup. The legend goes that the final world-changing step was a complete accident. He took his new syrup down to Jacob's Pharmacy, a local soda fountain. A customer with a headache ordered a glass. The standard practice was to mix the syrup with plain tap water, but the soda jerk, either through a stroke of genius or pure laziness, couldn't be bothered to walk to the tap at the other end of the counter. Instead, he just mixed the syrup with the bubbly carbonated water he had right in front of him. Imagine Pemberton's face. He watches this happen, probably about to scold the young man for messing up his precious formula. The customer takes a sip. His eyes go wide. He takes another. He declares it excellent. Pemberton, intrigued, tries a glass himself. The fizz, the sweetness, the double kick from the caffeine and coca. It was better. It was refreshing. It was Coca-Cola. He hadn't just reformulated his drink. He had accidentally invented a legend. But Pemberton, for all his inventive genius, was a terrible businessman. He sold the formula off, bit by bit, to various partners. The man who truly saw the potential was a shrewd, ambitious, and slightly obsessive businessman named Asa Candler. Candler bought up all the shares and acquired the full rights to Coca-Cola for the grand total of about $2,300. It was arguably the greatest bargain in human history. Candler was a marketing visionary, while Pemberton was the chaotic inventor. Candler was the meticulous brand builder. He plastered the elegant Spencerian script logo, drawn by Pemberton's bookkeeper, on everything that didn't move. He put it on calendars, clocks, serving trays, and even Japanese fans. But his most brilliant move was a revolutionary marketing tactic: the free sample. He printed and distributed thousands of coupons that entitled the bearer to one free glass of Coca-Cola. People thought he was insane, giving away your product for free. It was unheard of, but it worked. People tried it, they loved it, and they came back for more. Of course, there was the small, lingering issue of the cocaine. Yes, for the first couple of decades, Coca-Cola did contain a tiny, medicinal amount of cocaine. But as public opinion turned against the substance, Candler wisely and quietly had it removed from the formula around 1903, replacing it with decoconized coca leaf extract to maintain the flavor. The final piece of the puzzle was the bottle. As Coke became more popular, it was plagued by copycats with names like Coca-Cola and Ma Coca-Co. The company needed a bottle so unique, so distinctive, that you could recognize it even if it was shattered into 1,000,000 pieces on the ground. The design brief was sent out, and the winning team, in a moment of beautiful confusion, decided to base their design on the shape of the coca leaf or the cola nut. They went to the library to look them up, but being slightly rubbish researchers, they accidentally looked at an illustration of a cacao pod instead. They loved its elegant, ribbed shape. And so, the iconic, world-famous Coca-Cola bottle was mistakenly designed to look like the main ingredient of chocolate. From a morphine addict's desperate attempt to find a cure, to a Prohibition-forced reformulation, to an accidental mix with soda water, to a bottle designed after the wrong plant entirely, the story of Coca-Cola is a powerful testament to the fact that sometimes the greatest successes are born from chaos, luck, and a series of happy, hilarious accidents. If you enjoyed this story, hit like and subscribe for more surprising histories. Now for the secret formula in the comments. What's the one ingredient that makes any drink better?